Quinn's story, Twisted Ties of Deceit. Quinn Larson was a vibrant 19-year-old with a zest for life that was infectious. With her striking green eyes and auburn hair, she stood out in the small town of Willowbrook where everyone seemed to know each other. She had a passion for photography, often capturing the beauty of the town's landscapes and the hidden corners that others overlooked. Quinn's free spirit and warm smile made her a favorite among the townspeople. She lived with her parents, Karen and David Larson, who were deeply proud of their daughter's ambitions. Quinn had just finished her freshman year at a nearby university studying art and photography. Her room was a sanctuary of creativity, filled with her own work as well as the works of artists who inspired her. On the evening of her disappearance, Quinn had excitedly told her parents that she was going out to meet a friend at a local cafe. Her parents, well acquainted with her social nature, waved her off with smiles and wishes for a good time. Quinn had promised to be back by 10 p.m., but as the hours ticked by, her parents' unease grew. As night fell, Quinn's parents called her friends, only to find that no one had seen her since she left earlier that day. Panic set in, and they alerted the police. The entire town soon joined the search, combing through the forest trails and the places Quinn loved to frequent, but all efforts seemed to lead to a dead end. 3 months after Quinn's disappearance, a hiker with an inexplicable urge to explore off the beaten path stumbled upon a gruesome discovery deep within the heart of the dense forest. Hidden amidst the verdant foliage and concealed beneath a tangle of underbrush was Quinn's lifeless body. The once vibrant young woman now lay there, her final resting place marred by the violence inflicted upon her. The news of the discovery spread like wildfire through Willowbrook, carrying with it a shockwave of horror that reverberated through the tightly knit community. A veil of somberness fell over the town as it grappled with the tragic revelation. The mournful atmosphere was palpable. Once cheerful streets were now hushed, and faces once animated by shared moments were etched with sorrow. Quinn's parents, Karen and David, bore the weight of their daughter's loss with a grief that words could hardly convey. Their world had been irrevocably shattered, and their anguish radiated through the town like a quiet lament. The peaceful existence they had known had been cruelly disrupted by the brutality of the crime, leaving an indelible mark on their lives. As Willowbrook came to terms with the chilling reality of Quinn's fate, the beauty that Quinn had captured in her photographs seemed to contrast even more starkly with the tragedy that had befallen her. The town, once a backdrop to her creative eye, was now forever linked to the horror of her untimely death. When Quinn Larson disappeared, the Willowbrook Police Department launched an intensive investigation. Detectives interviewed numerous individuals who knew Quinn, including friends, classmates, and acquaintances. The town was abuzz with speculation, and emotions ran high as people tried to piece together the puzzle of her disappearance. In the early stages of the investigation, Mark Sullivan emerged as a prime suspect. Mark had been a childhood friend of Quinn's, and some rumors suggested that he had romantic feelings for her that weren't reciprocated. Mark's behavior seemed odd to some. He appeared nervous during initial interviews, and some witnesses claimed to have seen him acting strangely around the time of Quinn's disappearance. Lisa Turner, another acquaintance of Quinn's, also drew suspicion. She had a history of conflicts with Quinn, stemming from jealousy over Quinn's academic achievements and popularity. Detectives noted that Lisa's alibi seemed shaky, but there wasn't enough concrete evidence to link her to the crime at the time. Both Mark and Lisa were questioned extensively, but they maintained their innocence and provided alibis that, although raising some doubts, couldn't be definitively disproven. Despite the initial focus on Mark and Lisa, the investigation hit a dead end. Detectives struggled to find concrete evidence linking anyone to Quinn's disappearance and presumed murder. The town's grief deepened as hope for Quinn's safe return dwindled, and the case began to turn cold. 22 years later, the emotional wounds were still raw, and Quinn's memory was kept alive by those who remembered her. The newly formed cold case team within the Willowbrook Police Department saw Quinn's case as a chance to finally bring closure to the town and her grieving family. Detective Johnny Lee, known for his determination and meticulous approach, was chosen to lead the team. The cold case team pored over Quinn's case files, studying her life, her friends, and her activities in painstaking detail. Through old interviews and diary entries, they pieced together a portrait of a young woman full of life and potential. Her parents, Karen and David, still lived in Willowbrook, their hearts heavy with the memories of their lost daughter. The cold case team decided to re-interview witnesses from the original investigation, hoping that time might have loosened tongues and eased fears. Many individuals still remembered the shock and tension of that time, and some were willing to share new insights. As they spoke with witnesses, the team discovered that Mark and Lisa had been closer to Quinn than they initially thought, with hints of unresolved tensions and disputes. Back then, Mark and Lisa had been friends of Quinn, providing alibis that had seemed airtight at the time. Now, as the team revisited those alibis, cracks began to appear. The cold case team's relentless pursuit of the truth led them to a cache of old letters written by Quinn. These letters, carefully preserved among her belongings, hinted at a relationship with Mark and Lisa that ran deeper than the surface. In her letters, Quinn expressed her frustrations and fears, revealing a hidden tension and unresolved issues that had festered beneath their friendships. The hidden surveillance footage was another crucial piece of the puzzle. As technology had evolved over the years, the team was able to enhance and analyze footage from various sources. What they found was shocking. Interactions between Quinn, Mark, and Lisa that had never been disclosed during the initial investigation. These interactions were marked by strained conversations, whispered arguments, and exchanges laden with animosity. It was a stark contrast to the facade of friendship that they had maintained in public. Witnesses who had long remained silent began to come forward, driven by a sense of guilt and the weight of their secrets. These individuals had been present during some of the interactions and confrontations between Quinn, Mark, and Lisa. Fear had kept them silent, but the passage of time had eroded their hesitation. As they shared their knowledge, the narrative that unfolded painted a much darker and more sinister picture of the events leading up to Quinn's disappearance. The witnesses' testimonies spoke of jealousies that had simmered beneath the surface, rivalries that had intensified over time, and a growing sense of animosity that had ultimately erupted into violence. Quinn's friends had seen the cracks in her relationships, the resentment that had gnawed at Mark and Lisa until it reached a breaking point. With each letter, each frame of surveillance footage, and each witness statement, the true nature of Quinn's relationship with Mark and Lisa began to take shape. What had seemed like a simple friendship had been poisoned by envy, insecurities, and hidden agendas. The unraveling of these secrets revealed that the darkness that had engulfed Quinn's last days ran far deeper than anyone had ever suspected. With mounting evidence against Mark and Lisa, Detective Lee and his team confronted them separately, armed with their newfound insights. The pressure of 2 decades had taken its toll on both suspects, and as the evidence was presented, their lies began to unravel. In their separate interrogations, Mark and Lisa finally admitted to their involvement in Quinn's disappearance and murder, shedding light on the gruesome details that had remained hidden for over 2 decades. They revealed that their jealousy and resentment towards Quinn had fueled their actions. According to their confessions, on the night of Quinn's disappearance, they lured her to a remote location outside of town, taking advantage of her trust in them as former friends. Once there, tensions escalated and a heated argument erupted. Their feelings of envy and anger boiled over, leading to a violent confrontation. In their statements, Mark and Lisa confessed to subjecting Quinn to physical and psychological torment. The details were harrowing, depicting a nightmare sequence of events that involved both emotional manipulation and physical harm. Their actions went beyond anything that could be considered humane, and the confession painted a chilling picture of the depths to which their jealousy had driven them. As the confrontation escalated, it spiraled out of control, resulting in Quinn's tragic death. Overwhelmed by their emotions and actions, they admitted to disposing of Quinn's body in the deep woods, hoping that her disappearance would remain a mystery forever. Their confessions detailed the guilt and remorse that had haunted them over the years, eventually leading to their decision to admit their involvement in the crime. Detective Lee and his team were finally able to close the case with the truth revealed, allowing Quinn's family and the town of Willowbrook to find some semblance of closure. The confession of Mark and Lisa not only brought justice to Quinn's memory, but also highlighted the destructive power of jealousy and resentment that had led to such a tragic and heinous act. Mark and Lisa were tried and convicted for their crimes, bringing an end to the 22-year-old cold case. The town of Willowbrook, scarred by the tragedy, found a semblance of closure as justice was finally served. Quinn's memory would forever remain a reminder that even the darkest secrets can eventually come to light, and that the persistence of law enforcement can eventually lead to the truth. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel to hear more creepy, scary horror stories every week.